Everybody, this is Danny Thompson with the BuzzCity post-game show live here on Haps TV, as well as Zingo Television, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and everywhere you can hear the sound of my voice. My name is Danny Thompson, senior NBA writer for the three-point conversion, covering the Charlotte Hornets, and this is the best post-game show you're going to find talking about your Charlotte Hornets. And tonight, guess what? Another wonderful game tonight in Charlotte, because the Charlotte Hornets are now back at 500 with a 113-105 victory over the Atlanta Hawks. So if you're tuning into the show, like I said, please like, share, tag your friends. Also, at the same time, download the Habs TV app so you subscribe to myself and plenty of wonderful, great journalists in the world. And also, you can also subscribe to me and also donate as well too. As you see, my main man Brian Waters just dropped dropped the LOL award. My main man Brian, check out his show as well too, because he's doing post game with a lot of after the NFL playoff games, including the Baltimore Ravens tomorrow as well too. Like I said, download the Habs TV app on every single platform you can download it on. I think is also in iTunes as well as the Android store as well too. So listen, tonight was all about LaMelo Ball. I know it's not all about LaMelo Ball and this team, but listen, LaMelo Ball not only set an NBA record, but he also set a double league record, because he's now the first player, not just the youngest player in NBA history, but the youngest player in NBL history to have a triple double in the game. I mean, tonight, LaMelo Ball was just phenomenal. I don't know what more I can say about his performance. 22 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists. And the crazy thing is he only had one turnover tonight. To Brian's point, it was LaMelo tonight. It was LaMelo. Everything you want to see about LaMelo, he was there. He was bound to get it. Last night, he fell one assist short of the triple-double. Tonight, he got it. And on top of that, it was a game where Charlotte dominated for the most part of this game. There was parts where stretches where Atlanta was in the game early, but they left into one. But Charlotte really took control in the second quarter, led by LaMelo Ball, led by Terry Rozier, who had a thunderous dunk, his second Sports Center top 10 dunk in literally the last 2 weeks. You had PJ Washington blocking shots. You had an outstanding effort from so many different guys tonight. Caleb Martin had 15 points off the bench tonight. A quiet game from Gordon Hayward, and really for the most part, the Hornets took care of business. So let's catch you back up, and I'm going to talk about LaMelo. I know it's the guy everybody wants to talk about is LaMelo Ball. So let's get started with what you saw in the game tonight. So listen, Charlotte got off to a poor start again. John Collins was having his way inside with the Charlotte interior. Bismack Biyombo got in early foul trouble. PJ couldn't figure out how to keep him off the glass. And one of the things that Atlanta did well, and they were doing it throughout the game, was offensive rebounding. And that was what kept Atlanta in the game. With the offensive rebounds, they were getting second shots. They were allowing themselves to have more opportunities shooting the basketball. And as we all know, if you keep teams off the offensive glass, second chances will happen. Well, tonight, Charlotte struggled in the early part, keeping Atlanta off the glass, and it led to a lead that Atlanta had at the end of 129-28. But give the Hornets credit. What we've watched in the first 10 games of the season, most times, with the exception of maybe against the Atlanta game that happened on Wednesday, is Charlotte gets off to an extremely slow start. Well, they were down 11-3, but Charlotte fought back. They were punching. They were keeping themselves in the game. And of course, when LaMelo Ball checked in with Miles Bridges in the mid part of the first quarter, you can tell the game changes. It just seems like every time Coach Borrego goes to that duo, especially when Biz got in foul trouble, the tempo seems to pick up. But what we saw with LaMelo Ball tonight was not only the offensive game, was he was creating shots for everybody else. Another good sign early in the game was what Devontae Graham was doing, because when nobody else was hitting shots, Devontae Graham was the one getting the free throw line. Listen, we talk about Devontae not getting to the free throw line. I've said this in the show a couple of times already, how Devontae needs to get to the free throw line. And you know what? He was aggressive. He finished the game with 8 free throws, but he had 4 in the first quarter. If you've watched the last 6 or 7 games, we haven't seen much aggression. But ever since the Atlanta game has happened, he's gotten to line, I think, 19 times over the last 3 games. So he's now getting to the free throw line, which eventually will help you get shots. Now, he didn't shoot the ball particularly well tonight, and it's not helping his case about staying in the starting lineup, because he did shoot 1 of 6 tonight, 1 of 5 from the three-point line, but he did hit his first three-pointer of the game. But what I'm saying is he was much more aggressive getting to the rim and causing fouls. There was one where Bojan Bogdanovic committed one of the worst fouls you could possibly find. You're fouling a guy behind, and it should have been a three-pointer, but it was a 2, with less than 2 seconds on the shot clock when he really had nowhere to go. That's the type of game that Atlanta had to start with. And one of the things that hurt the Hawks was Bogdanovic getting hurt in the second quarter. He didn't return. He grabbed his knee, went down, had to be helped off the court. So we don't know the extent of his injury. He did not finish the game. Bogdanovic finished the game in his minutes tonight with he finished playing 10 minutes. He had 5 points. He was in the starting lineup, which forced Cam Reddish to play a little bit more. So that was the story with that. When you go into the second quarter tonight and you watch the second quarter, it was really the game changer of the second quarter. Charlotte has struggled in the second quarter, and it seems like at times Charlotte would literally at times fall asleep behind the wheel. And they would get to the point where you get to halftime and they're down double digits. What happened in the second quarter tonight was they took that momentum for the first quarter, and with LaMelo Ball leading the way, it flipped. Charlotte turned the heat up in the second quarter. You saw the defensive intensity catch up after the Bogdanovic injury, but Atlanta couldn't contribute on offense, and Charlotte kept pushing on the offensive side of the ball. Atlanta couldn't hit water. It could not hit water for much of anything. Camera Pro in the chat saying North Carolina stand up. Hey, listen. Yeah, North Carolina. Listen, Charlotte had an outstanding night tonight, and it's now back on the map. We saw them on national TV last night, come from behind against the New Orleans Pelicans. Tonight, they took care of business as well, too. So when you go back in that second quarter and watch what Charlotte did in the second quarter, it was really about the drive and the kick and really being effective with their rotations. And what you saw was a team that was much more together defensively. On top of that, if you watch what Caleb Martin did, now Caleb Martin came in the game tonight, and he's the more of the offensive of the Martin twins. And to the Hornets fans, it's kind of a 50-50 split, whether you like Caleb Martin and Cody Martin or you don't. Well, what you saw tonight from Caleb Martin was he showed why he's in this rotation for James Borrego, because if you pay attention, he's down to about a 9-man rotation with Caleb Martin, getting a few minutes here and there. But Cody Martin played 17 minutes, but really in the second quarter, he came out with the step back jumper. He knocked down a three-pointer. His brother knocked down a three-pointer. And it seemed like the momentum started changing. Caleb had 15 points in the game, but as you saw what he was doing in the second quarter, his shots were allowing the team to move the ball around. And then we all saw it. Second quarter, Terry Rozier with his second SportsCenter top 10 dunk in the first part of the season. He came baseline, went behind his back. John Collins couldn't stop him, and he went completely full-fledged Stretch Armstrong with the dunk. Mike Patton in the chat, big shout out to my man Mike. The Hornets are the vibe that watching the Hornets is sharing is caring. Yes, the Hornets lead the league in assists. Ironically, for a team that doesn't shoot the ball as well, statistically, Charlotte leads the NBA in assists. That's one of the good things of having guys like Gordon Hayward, LaMelo Ball, the underrated Devontae Graham when it comes to his playmaking ability. They share the basketball very well. If you watch the games, you see, even though Bismack Biyombo at times does drop the ball, or it seems like he just doesn't at times do well offensively, but Gordon Hayward finds the way to get him the basketball in the paint. LaMelo Ball, there was about maybe 3 or 4 assists that were so easy. There was the one to PJ Washington that was easy under the rim. You see the way, I think he threw one behind his back to PJ for a three-pointer. Those guys create easy shots, and we create easy open shots. The vibe as well. The guys are happy, and the ball doesn't stick. Unlike last season where the ball stuck when it was really Devontae and Terry really controlling most of the ball, this ball is free-flowing. It hits different hands, and I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see 4 or 5 touches from other players before the ball goes in the hoop. Unlike what's going on in Atlanta, you saw that in Charlotte. Charlotte was up at halftime 59-50 in the game. Somebody on Facebook saying the Martin twins would nail that whole team together. Listen, the Martin twins, they're worth a lot more than what a lot of fans want to give them credit for and what they're given. Listen, if you look at the Martin twins, they do things differently. Caleb Martin is a scorer. He's much more consistent shooting the basketball, and tonight proved it. Listen, Caleb Martin played 17 minutes. He was 6 of 9 from the floor. He was 3 of 4 from downtown. That's what you need. He provides that third scoring option off the bench besides Miles Bridges, besides LaMelo Ball. He's a different type of scorer. I mean, is he as good defensively as his brother is? No, but his ability to consistently shoot the basketball at a high level is what Charlotte needs off the bench. So somebody asked me in the chat, am I the guy from GTA? If you can't remember his name, You can't ask me a question. All right, but back to the game itself. Like I said, Charlotte was up at halftime, and it was another game where Atlanta just seemed to let it fall apart. And Atlanta's on a losing streak, and Atlanta's not playing well. But when you look at the numbers and you watch the game, is it surprising to most fans? Not is it more surprising that the Hornets held Atlanta to 37% from the floor tonight, or is it more surprising that Trae Young came into the set of games against Charlotte averaging 28 points a game? Trae Young has not hit a three-pointer in the last literally 2 games. In 96 game minutes, Trae Young has not hit a three-pointer against the Charlotte Hornets, which is unfathomable. He was averaging over 10 free throw attempts a game. He's only gotten to the line 5 times in the last 2 games against the Hornets. You have to give the Hornets credit a lot on defense. And one of the credits on defense is, listen, Charlotte is doing well. LaMelo Ball is moving around, and things are moving. Wacky64 in the comments saying Trae needs to wake up. Listen, he can wake up against any other team. As long as he's not doing it against Charlotte, I'm perfectly fine with it. But yes, Trae needs to work. There's some things in Atlanta you have to really – there's a lot more to uncover in Atlanta. And as far as LaMelo Ball is, the scary part, he's going to get better. I think he is. But that's another topic we'll talk about later. The halftime score is the Hornets were up by 9, 59-50 at the break. And PJ had 12 points in the first half. And I had a chance to ask him after the game tonight about his ability to protect the rim. His ability to protect the rim is something that has not been seen. Last year, PJ had 2 games where he had 3 or more block shots. He's done it for the 3rd time in 14 days this season. I asked him about it, and he said the block shots are something that allows the team to draw momentum. And listen, 6 block shots tonight, which was a career high. He had 3 the other night. I said 3 games of over 3 in the last couple games. And he's blocking shots at a higher level, protecting the rim. And they needed it because when Bismack Biyombo got in foul trouble, his ability to protect the rim allowed him to – you can start to see the confidence in PJ. When the block started happening, PJ shot start following. And if you look at his stat line, it was more than the 7-11 from the field tonight that he had. He knocked down a couple 3-pointers, and it was his best shooting game from behind the arc tonight. And he also got to the line 6 times. That was also because of the fact of the driving kick for Charlotte all game tonight. So PJ hit all the things that you wanted. Had 7 rebounds. This was PJ's best game of the season, and you can see the confidence they had. About Trae Young again, the expectations are up, and Trae has to meet them. That's the issue, along with other things. Here's the thing: Atlanta's lost 3 games in a row, and it's frustration going around. It's really all frustration in Atlanta right now. You saw the article Chris Carson wrote, which is outstanding with The Athletic, about what's going on with that team meeting that had John Collins and Trae Young. A little bit of an interesting moment. Clint Capella was involved in it. Read Chris's work. I don't want to put his words or twist his words. His article is phenomenal. It's very well written and very well in depth if you want to learn more about the Hawks. So let's go back to what the Hornets did. Third quarter comes around, and Charlotte picked up the defensive intensity. It wasn't already bad enough that Atlanta couldn't hit shots anyway, but Charlotte turned up the defensive intensity in the third quarter. Now, Atlanta got back in the game. Atlanta made this a close game in the third quarter. But what Charlotte did is they they played with like Coach Borrego has always been saying, with resiliency. They not only kept the lead, but they started extending it. LaMelo Ball went on a run where he was knocking down 3-pointers. When he's knocking down 3-pointers, Charlotte's a hard team to beat. He hit his first 7 shots. Nobody expects LaMelo Ball to go 7 for 7 to start the game. But I will say this. For those who've never watched the Charlotte Hornets play, shame on you. But now you're going to start watching. Okay, LaMelo Ball is going to start making this a must-watch television game. But another thing about LaMelo Ball is when he's in the game, I want you to watch. They play Monday night against the upstart New York Knicks. I'm saying the upstart New York Knicks for crying out loud. But LaMelo Ball grabs a rebound, and when he grabs that rebound, he is flying down the court. He starts to break. He starts running the floor. It's at 19 years old. It's very rare to see guys like this. It's very rare for a kid to be this good this early. So what he does is when he grabs that rebound, he is flying down to the court. It's reminding me of watching Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd when he was with the Dallas Mavericks as a youngster, just grabbing that rebound and starting the break. There was a few times where he started accelerating down the break, and there was nobody with him to catch up with him. But that's the point with LaMelo Ball. He's having fun, but when he gets that rebound, Charlotte takes off running. But in the third quarter, you saw Charlotte just find ways to pull ahead in this game. Third quarter wise, Atlanta couldn't hit shots, but Charlotte was knocking things down from deep. They hit 4 from the 3-point line in the quarter, and Atlanta was just missing everywhere. And by the time you got to the end of the third quarter, LaMelo Ball had taken this game over. And at the end of 3 quarters, he was literally 1 rebound and 1 assist away from a triple-double. Fourth quarter time, everybody's watching the score. Hornets are up by 11 at the end of 3, and you're all waiting for LaMelo Ball to get the triple-double. We all were waiting for it. He finally gets the triple-double midway through the fourth quarter. And listen, it's great to see the kid get the triple-double. We all want to see it. I just hate that the triple-double happened with no fans in the stands. I can only imagine what Spectrum Center would have been like the moment he got that 10th assist. And the place probably would have been as loud as it was back in the early part of the Hornets days. We're talking about when it's in the Hive. I'm not talking – it might have been louder than anything else you've seen. So when you watch that and you just know Charlotte is going to be something special. And now we don't know in Charlotte when fans are going to be allowed in the arena. We don't know when. But I guarantee you when Governor Cooper and the Hornets and the NBA can figure out how to get fans back at Spectrum Center, I guarantee you will not find a ticket. LaMelo Ball has now become, I'm going to say, must-watch television. Don't be surprised if LaMelo keeps playing like this, you're going to start seeing the Hornets on television a lot more. A question in the chat about Atlanta's second option. Well, it's John Collins. The problem was John Collins was doing a great job in the first quarter. The bad part was he had 9 points and 4 rebounds in the first quarter, but you did not find him the rest of the game as he finished with only 12 points. That was the problem. They stopped going in the inside. They stopped banging. It's the same thing that New Orleans did last night. Charlotte struggles with interior teams. Charlotte is smaller. They got Biyombo in foul trouble, but they forgot to start going to the rim. Cam Reddish and those guys were shooting 3-pointers. You can't do that against the team, especially when they're in foul trouble. But I digress. LaMelo Ball finally got the triple-double, and it was with 6 minutes and 13 seconds left. We hit P.J. Washington for a fadeaway, and at that point, the triple-double happened. Charlotte got a little sloppy towards the end of the game, started committing turnovers. At the end, Charlotte took advantage at the when the game got close, the game got under 10. I want to say it was after Cam Reddish a couple free throws, the game got to 8. Charlotte then LaMelo split a 1-and-1. Rozier knocked down a 3 and then knocked out a set of free throws. It was really a 6-0 run by Charlotte, put the game away, and it got the lead back up to 14. Charlotte closed the game out 113-105. Like I said, they're now 5-5, and they continue this crazy stretch of games because they play on Monday night at home against the New York Knicks. 7 o'clock tip-off at Spectrum Center. So let me give you my game balls tonight. It will take more questions in the chat as well, too. So game balls tonight, listen, we all know what LaMelo Ball did tonight. And the fact of, I don't know what was more impressive tonight. Like I said, it was the 9-13 shooting where he hit his first 7 shots, or the fact that he had 11 assists with 1 turnover. Just 1 turnover in the 32 minutes. Hornets fans have been complaining about, him playing more minutes. Listen, if you look at the Hornets minutes, the way the Hornets break down the minutes for tonight, PJ is going to get his minutes because he's playing the small ball 5. But PJ played 36 minutes. LaMelo played 30. Oh, you want to say 32? Devontae played 32 with Rozier and Hayward both playing 35. Okay, he played 30 minutes tonight. There was not much more than you could say. He played plenty of minutes tonight. How the Hornets compensating by being small? Listen, LaMelo Ball changes the game. Because he's a guy, if you've watched, he is not scared to go rebound against big guys. He's not scared to do it. He's not scared to go afraid up and go get it. And Mike, to your question, how they compensate is Ball is such a great defender, great rebounder. He's led the team in rebound the last 2 games. He had 10 last night. He had 12 tonight. He crashes the boards, not just on the offensive end. He crashes on the defensive end. And it seems like the rebounding becomes infectious because it looks as though the guards are now rebounding. Terry had 4, he had 6 last night. He had 4 tonight. PJ had 7. You look at Devontae had 5. Miles Bridges, it's like a collective team effort to crash the boards. And that's what they're doing to be so small without Zeller. We haven't seen Nick Richards, or we haven't seen Vernon Carey play at all or much of anything. So they're compensating by just a full-fledged team effort. on the glass tonight. So like I said, my game ball of course is LaMelo Ball. PJ 22.7 rebounds, 6 blocks. Also another game ball goes out to Terry Rozier. Besides the dunk tonight, 23 points, an efficient 23 points, 8 of 15 shooting, knocked down 4 threes. He got to the line 5 times. Un-Terry-like, he did miss 2. He only went 3 of 5 from the line, which is un-Terry-like because he's an 80% free throw shooter. So those are things. Another unsung hero goes, like I said, to Caleb Martin. 15 points, 17 minutes. He knocked down 3 threes. He did everything that Charlotte needed off the bench. My main man Blitz from Twitter. What's going on? What's going on, Rated? Listen, Blitz. Listen. Okay, it's 10 games. I'm not giving this guy a superstar role, but I will say this: LaMelo is must-watch television. It is what it is. It's must-watch television. Do I think he deserves a starter role? He's going to be the starter. Okay. The real reason why you can't start him right now is the fact of Devontae is still in a shooting slump. You do not want to send a guy like Devontae Graham to the bench in the middle of a shooting slump. You got to get his confidence back up. You got to get it up. He's got to be able to start knocking down shots because when the transition happens, you want to be able to have Devontae playing his at a high level. It's eventually going to happen. I mean, it's eventually going to happen. LaMelo is going to be a starter in this team. There's no way. But the thing is, you don't want to also rock the boat either. Charlotte's been winning. They're at 500. They've won their last 3 games. Don't rock the boat if it's winning. If it's working, continue to do what it does. Now, what you can do is, if he's not going to be a starter, is you can start adjusting these minutes a little bit, okay? I think Melo deserves more minutes. I think he does, but you got to make sure that it's in the right situations. I don't rock the boat. If Charlotte's won 3 consecutive games, why am I switching this lineup right now? Because obviously it's working. What's also working is the fact that Coach Borrego, again tonight, ran the 3 guards again tonight. He played Melo with Graham, and he played him with Rozier. Like I said, we saw it a little bit in the Atlanta game. He played a little bit more of it last night. We saw it again tonight. You saw that what happens is it creates more shots. It creates more opportunities. Onish in the chat saying the Melo triple-double. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be the first. I don't think it's going to be the only one he gets all year. There's going to be more coming. Blitz, go ahead. Like I said, put the question in the chat. Go ahead. I'll answer for you. But I think if you're winning, don't change it. I don't think you change it if it's working. If it, like my mom always said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Continue to keep riding. Keep riding till the wheels fall off on this whole situation. Now, if somebody gets hurt or the team goes on a losing streak, by all means, you make the change. But if it's working, you gotta make it working. Yeah. I mean, listen. Coach Borrego told us in postgame that it's something he has never seen. A kid this mature, a kid like this. Check out the 3pointconversion.com. He said so many things and spoke so highly of LaMelo. He spoke so highly of him on what he's seen through 10 games and really how much he's mature, how mature he is to be 19 years old, because most guys don't come in the league like this. All right. He's the youngest player in the league. The last player who was younger than him was Markelle Fultz. And, because of Markelle Fultz's shoulder injury, we never really got to see where he is. And now he's out for the rest of the season with an ACL injury. So we don't know what we're getting with Markelle Fultz. What I'm saying is LaMelo Ball is a different type of player. I mean, I've said this going back to before Lonzo got to UCLA. When they were asking between the 3 Ball brothers which one it was, Lonzo has the best court vision, but I always said LaMelo had the highest ceiling. LaMelo had the ability to be the superstar because, listen, you're playing with 2 other brothers who were, let's be honest, they were Division I prospects. They both played Division I college basketball, even though LiAngelo Ball only played but maybe 2 games at UCLA, but they all were Division I recruits. And Lonzo was a top 3 pick. Okay, when you're playing in that environment on a daily basis, you're only going to get better. Okay, I can only imagine what those games were. The pickup in the house, the pickup games. He also mentioned the post game about rebounding and how he learned how to rebound playing 21. That's the only way you get the ball. At least where I'm from, the only way you get the ball at Tuck at the courts on Tuckasegee playing 21 on the blacktop is you gotta be able to rebound. It is what it is. But to Mike Patton's point, it's just you have to really, if Charlotte starts losing or somebody gets hurt, you make the lineup change. Okay, I'll be honest. If Charlotte wouldn't have won these last 3 games, and with the way Devontae's been playing, I would have said put Melo in the lineup on Monday night against New York. Okay, you put him in the lineup. At that point, you're 2-8. Okay, but Charlotte's 5-5. They've won 3 games in a row. There's no way you change the lineup. The Oh yeah, I mean, we all have seen it. It's not just did I look at it. We all saw it. The team runs differently when Melo's in the game. It is because he has that ability not only to get himself involved, but listen, there are moments where you saw how LaMelo wasn't a rookie. We saw in the fourth quarter where he backed down Trae Young and used his body to basically push Trae Young literally out the way. All right. We saw LaMelo making these veteran type plays. The play on Kevin Huerter in the second was, I think, the third quarter, where he put him in the second quarter, I think it was, where he threw Kevin Huerter in a spin cycle. He went one way, changed his body around. Kevin Huerter ended up in Gastonia trying to guard him, and he hit the jump shot. So we see how good Charlotte looks. Okay, now the wonderful thing about it is LaMelo Ball for the second consecutive game had a plus in the plus minus chart. Last night was +6. Tonight was +18. Sam from Twitter saying PJ the future All-Star. Well, listen, with PJ, it has to be more consistency with PJ. Because the role changing for him is not going to be the same role he had this last year. He's playing much more of a small ball 5, a pull-out 5. He's got to be able to protect the rim. He's still learning how to protect the rim. And listen, he's already doing better protecting the rim than he did last year, and it's only going to get better. Like I said, Blitz, any question you got, go ahead and put it there. The natural spot for the maximum production for PJ from Mike Patton, I think in this system with Charlotte, the way he's playing, I don't mind him being the small ball 5. I think when Cody gets back, and even with Biyombo, him playing a big 5, a big 4, and playing minutes at the small ball 5, he's actually playing where he is right now. We want to see more of his playmaking, but that's really, you don't really see as much of it because of the fact of how good of a playmaker LaMelo is, how good of a playmaker Hayward is, how good Rozier is. You don't get to see it as much as you want. What does this team need to better get to the next level? A big 5? Really, honestly, we don't. It's kind of too early to tell. Because right now, as Borrego said, as Coach Borrego said tonight, they're still learning. Really, it's only 10 games in the season. If you really stretch it out on a normal NBA season, we would be technically right around 18 to 19 games into the season, maybe 20, 25, depending on when the season started. So at this point, through 10 games, I think you're fine just the way you are. You don't want a big athletic 5. I'm not sure how it's going to work because with PJ doing such a great job at the small ball 5, I'm not sure how it is because we really haven't seen what Nick Richards brings to the table, and we don't know where Vernon Carey is. All I know is that I think Nick Richards might get into the situation a little bit earlier because, to your point, he's an athletic 5. I think once Nick Richards learns how to play the game defensively, like my Pat's point says, I think when Nick Richards learns how to treat the game a little bit, I think we might see him more than Vernon because, listen, Vernon lost 30 pounds. We got to see how he's able to run up and down the court because, as we've seen, if you're playing with LaMelo Ball, you're going to have to be able to run the floor. Miles runs the 4 at the 5, PJ runs the 4 at the 5, and Biz hustles down the 4 at the 5. You're going to need somebody that can run and be able to obtain at the rim. Because, listen, PJ even said it in postgame tonight. The one great thing about LaMelo is that he's going to get you the ball. The bad part is you don't know when it's coming. Johnny in the chat, Johnny be good. Hello, Johnny. I appreciate you tuning in. Also subscribe, and keep getting all this wonderful content. So, but yeah, Blitz, like I said, I was wondering what's going to happen with the 5, but it's too early to tell. What we do know is that Monday night's game against the New York Knicks is going to be a different type of game because, listen, when you have the New York Knicks with Julius Randle, who is playing not just at an all-star level, but hey, listen, the Knicks are winning. And if they continue to win, you got to talk about Julius Randle for MVP at this point, if he continues at this level. And it's kind of hard. The Knicks have a harder time against the Hornets have a harder time guarding against Julius Randle. Listen, it's kind of like Zion Williamson was last night. The only difference is that Randle can actually knock down shots, okay? The real thing for Charlotte Monday night is they're going to have to get to the rim and get Mitchell Robinson in foul trouble. And then 2, on the other end is you got to be able to make the Knicks a jump shooting team. Okay. The Knicks are okay on the perimeter, but they're much better when they're attacking the rim. And as we saw last night when on the Oklahoma City game, if you pressure the Knicks shooters, they're not going to hit shots. And I think with the way Charlotte's been playing defensively over the last couple of games, don't look at that 110 points against New Orleans as, oh, they didn't play well defensively. Look at that second half when they literally locked in the second half. Look at the 2 Atlanta games over the last 4 days. You see what Charlotte can do defensively, and that's what they need to. They need to be able to close out on shooters. And I'll give LaMelo Ball credit for this. Listen, he is closing out a lot better than his closeout game is getting a lot better. And there were times like on that pick and roll, there was one where John Collins had LaMelo at the top of the key, and LaMelo tried to go body to body with John Collins. Listen, Collins scored, but Collins is way bigger physically. But you saw how LaMelo picked up the trends defensively. No, Borrego has said it. Even the guys, PJ said it. Rozier said it. This kid asked a lot of questions. And JB told us in pregame, I think it was pregame tonight, that LaMelo is the guy that sets the tone energy-wise and shooting rounds. He's asking questions. He's more engaged in shoot around than he is during the games. So that just tells you what he's bringing to the table. And you can see his defensive ability has gotten better. If you go back to that first Atlanta game where you saw Brandon Goodwin, getting backdoor cuts, you didn't see that tonight. But I will say this, that laser he threw to Rozier in the first quarter was just freaking phenomenal, by the way. Do I agree about coaching looking more to Melo on the offense? Listen, he's doing it the right way. Melo is a guy, when he grabs that rebound, you see Devontae, you see Rozier, you see PJ, you see they give him the ball to run the offense because they know he's going to hit other people. Gordon Hayward, the only time that the ball handling situation is a question is when Gordon and LaMelo are on the court together. But what we have seen is when they're both on the court together, Gordon Hayward's a dangerous shooter in the corner. And you're not gonna let Gordon Hayward shoot too many threes in the corner like that because he's gonna knock him down. The one thing that is going to have to merge together is letting Gordon Hayward have the time he needs to shoot the basketball and get everything over there. But yeah, we saw a great performance from LaMelo tonight. It was, like I said, it was a historical performance tonight. I don't know what we're expecting on Monday night, but what I do expect is Charlotte has a chance to go over 500. And I can't tell you the last time Charlotte was above 500 in the season. Man, I gotta go do the research on that one. Last time Charlotte was above 500 in the season. I'll probably get back to you Monday night, especially if they win. Before I go, Blitz was asking the question about why is LaMelo keep taking LaMelo at the end of the fourth quarter. It's offense for defense. It's real simple. It's you're putting Miles Bridges in the game because he's better defensively. Okay, it's offense for defense. It's nothing going to change with that. Okay, Melo his defense really isn't that bad. But here's the thing: would you rather have Miles Bridges in the game defensively, or would you rather have LaMelo Ball game defensively? All right, you gotta have that. I'm not saying his defense is bad, but he's really getting better. And you got to think Melo played a lot in the fourth quarter tonight. He's been playing fourth quarter minutes. We're seeing him playing in the fourth quarter late in games. He closed out the game last night in New Orleans. He started playing a little bit. He started playing deeper in the fourth quarter in the Atlanta game. Just give it time. Give it time. You just got to trust Borrego. And so far so good. LaMelo's off to a great start. The Hornets are at 5-5. And let's be honest, when you start watching the Hornets this season, would you have thought after 10 games this team would have been 5-5? For a team that won 23 games last season to be 5-5 at the very first at the quarter point of the season at the 1/8 mark of the season, I don't think a lot of Hornets fans. I think Hornets fans would have been ecstatic like they are now about the start. So listen, before I go, I know Hornets fans want to see LaMelo Ball in the starting lineup, but like I said, until you don't change it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They've won 3 games in a row. And can you imagine if this team turns around and beats New York on Monday night, and then turn back, and then the next week for the Hornets over the next couple of days, you look at their schedule, it kind of breaks in their favor a little bit this week because, like I said, it's a rough stretch of games. On the schedule for the next couple of games, you're looking at, like I said, you have New York on Monday night, you have another game against Dallas on Wednesday, and then you have, I hate to call this a back-to-back, but it's a weird back-to-back. They play literally, 4 games in the next they play 4 games this week. So I said they play Monday at home against New York. They play home in the rematch against Dallas on Wednesday. And then they have the Thursday, Saturday split in Tampa against the Raptors. At that point, we'll look at Charlotte. They won't play again, and they get a nice 4 days off before they have to host Washington on the 20th. after the inauguration. So they had time. And the question is, when do I see realistically starting LaMelo Ball? Listen, I've been saying right around mid-month, but I think if Charlotte is still winning and still playing good basketball, I think once Devontae gets his shot back, I think you put him back on the bench. I think you make the switch then. There's only so much time you're going to keep LaMelo Ball on this bench, and we all know this. It's just that you just want to make sure that Devontae is in a good headspace offensively because you're going to need him. Okay, no matter what happens, you're going to need him. I think what you do is until he's ready to take over is that you increase LaMelo's minutes. I think you get him right around that 33, 34 minute a game mark. And I think that's what you keep doing until Devontae starts finding his confidence. And at that point, you kind of transition him back to the 6-man role, or that's really the best option to get, because I hate to see the Bridges and Ball dynamic get broken up, but we all know it's going to happen eventually. I just think that as long as Charlotte keeps winning, you can't change it. And I don't mean if they lose on Monday night to New York, you make the line change on Wednesday. I don't think you do that. I think realistically, if anything, unless Charlotte goes on a complete winning streak, I say Wednesday when they get back after the break. After the 4-day break against Washington, I think you get LaMelo in the starting lineup probably then. That way you'll have a couple of days off, you'll have a couple of days to practice, and a couple of days to kind of get Devontae in a better space. But if they're winning, you don't move it. You don't make the change. You just don't make the change. You just don't change it right now. So follow me on Twitter at DannyDA3 Thompson on Twitter, as well as the work on the 3pointconversion.com. You'll see my Hornets articles on there, as well as check out the YouTube page for the 3-point conversion, because you'll see the post-game interviews that I had with Coach Borrego tonight, as well as PJ Washington, and as well, of course, that guy named LaMelo Ball. Also, check me out tomorrow on Under Construction with my main man, Rodney Pops Richardson, the angry fan, Jamal Darby, my main man, Kaiser Sose, and the entire crew over at Under Construction. I'll be on that podcast at 12 tomorrow, talking about, of course, the Bugs, among other things. And also, Monday night, we'll be back on post-game Monday night, as well as check out Beyond the Buzzer, 9 p.m. on Monday night, which is my regular weekly talk show. So, Blitz, like I said, always, my friend, listen, download the Haps app, so you got to keep doing this on Twitter. But big shout out to everybody who stepped in tonight. Like I said, everybody watching, I appreciate donating as well as viewing and sharing. So, like I said, have a great weekend. We'll see you guys on Monday. I'll check in tomorrow on this construction. Have a great night, everybody. Peace.